Hey guys, I just wanted to show you my newest card. This is my little Jack Skellington sweater card, which is so fun. I got this stamp set, which is called, what's it called? Stay Warm. And I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do some Disney characters with the sweater? And I really wanted to do Jack Skellington first. I'm not quite sure why, but he came to mind. Just obviously probably just Halloween, but it's funny how things come to your mind. But so how cute is this? It turned out great. Oh, and then the coolest part is that I can pull the card part. Whoops, there we go. Doing it backwards is a little bit difficult. I pull the card out like this, and then I slide it back in. Hold on. It's hard for me to do it. And then I slide it back in like that. It's hard for me to do it left-handed. And then slide it back in. How cute is that? I thought, what a fun design. I got this design for my friend Candy. But yeah, so that's our little fun card for today. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, whatever you feel like doing. It's always greatly appreciated. I just like showing people how to make cards. I just think it's really fun. So thanks so much for tuning in, and you have a great day. Hey guys, I can't wait to show you how to do this sweater night before Christmas card. It's such a fun little card. So instead of having it open up in a traditional way, you have your little writing piece slide out from the center. How cute is that? So cute. Okay, so in love, think this is the cutest. So happy. So I wanted to show you how to make it. Duh. So, all right, so the card, let me get my ruler. So my card is, this is 5.5. Yeah, this is 5.5. It's not the normal card. You guys normally see me make the other tinted cards. So this is 5.5. And it's scored at 4.25, right? 5.5 by 7.25. So the total piece of black is 5.5 by 7.25, and it's scored at 4.25. Okay. And so basically what I did is I made a normal card. I made the normal card base, and I just cut this piece off. And this piece was only 1.25 inches wide. So this piece had come from here. And I just trimmed it off. That was the easiest way to do it. But again, if you're not adept at cutting everything, basically this is the size. I'm sorry to explain this, but I don't normally make cards this way. So I want to make sure anyone that's watching that's used to my other videos understands that this is a different piece. So there we go. So a normal card is our 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, and normally I like to cut it down the middle. That's why you always see my cards are tinted like this one, like my Yzma card is tinted this way, so like a little tint. But the traditional greeting cards are cut this way and open up this way, you know, just the normal way. Okay, so in this case, sorry, I'm using this little I guess I have it mirrored, I think the wrong way or something. Anyway, it's not mirrored. I don't know. Let me see if I can switch it. There we go. I think now it's officially mirrored. I don't know. We'll see. It's like kind of funny. There we go. Okay, sorry. I'm using this little video camera. So look at how cool. So I can see my hands. And normally I can't see my hands because the phone is up there. Anyway, so sorry. Okay. So this is an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock. Normally I cut it down the middle and do the tinted cards, but for this card, a quick way to do it is to take your 8.5 by 11 and you're going to cut it in the middle here at 5.5. Just cut it straight across. Then you're going to score it at 4.25, and then I would just trim off this little bit over here. That's the only reason why I was showing you that. Sorry to ramble on. But I was also excited by the technology that's right here. So yay. Okay, so perfect. So here's our basic card base. And then this piece here is a layer down. So actually I should use this white underneath because it's hard to see the black on black, or black on the dark mahogany. So this is 1/4 inch smaller. So when I measured, so this is technically 3 inches wide. So this little gray piece is 2 3/4. Okay, like I always tell you, you always go down a quarter. So this was 3 inches wide, this spot. So this is now 2 3/4. And then I found this plaid paper, which I thought was just, you know, if you're gonna make a cheesy Christmas sweater, you know, card, you might as well use some plaid to match. I don't know, I just got a little wild with it. So this is 2 3/4, and this is 2.5. Okay, so this is 2.5 inches wide, and this is, because this is 5 5.5, so that means this is 5 1/4, and this one's going to be 5. Watch. Yep, that's 5, and the gray one is 5 1/4. Okay, so remember, whenever you're making your layers, it's best when you go down 1/4. Not best, it's just, to me, it's easiest. Now, some people, like I said, they prefer, I've said before, some people like to have like a tiny little piece of cardstock showing. That's not really my style. If I'm gonna cut all this paper, I wanna see that cardstock. I wanna see that I cut that piece of cardstock. That's just my personal preference. But again, everyone has different styles, and it also depends on the paper. I have used paper before that I didn't want so much cardstock showing and made a smaller cut. I guess it just all depends. So let's get this little glued down, and it's a little crooked there. So we're on day 14 of the furlough, guys. Day 14, good times. Well, it's good times because I'm just crafting for you guys, so that's fun, you know. I just like crafting. I'm keeping busy, and you know, it's kind of like, you know, in the first few days of the pandemic, you know, everyone felt really good about things, and it was really good. But then over time, you have to really start staying busy, because otherwise you start to go a little loopy, you know, because your brain needs more function, you know, it needs more stimulation. So that's our basic layer. And then we've got, this is my little glue holder. How cute is that? I pulled it out like I showed you from the other day, how you have like the little glue holder. Anyway, it's so cool. So then we've got our layer, and where'd my, there it is. I was gonna say, I know I have my glue handy because I made sure to have it out for this video. So the paper, this paper actually comes from an old paper called Plaid Tidings. It's from about 2 years ago, I believe. It's a couple years old, but I've used quite a bit of it. I mean, well, it doesn't look like I've used a lot, but I have. I've used quite a bit of it on some different projects. I just think it's a good, just a really fun one. This was another option. Again, anything you feel like using. I was going to use this black and white. I changed my mind and used the gray instead. So remember, you don't have to make this card exactly like I have it. This is just how I made it in this moment. But again, all is well if you choose a different path, you know? So in order to make our pocket, I'm using Terran tape because I find this to be the strongest. The white tape is also very strong, but it takes a long time. Not a long time, but you know, you have to wait for it to dry, and you do not want to put your little nice piece of writing paper in here with the white glue, because if it gets stuck, you're gonna then have to like rip it out, and that would be bad. And so I love my little mirroring screen that I have here. It really helps me see what I'm doing for you guys. You know, sometimes I go off screen and I don't even know it because, you know, my phone is way up here. And so I can't actually see the top of my phone. So this is really helpful. I'm 100% credit to Cara. She's a pin trader, like Disney pins. She collects them, and I'm becoming pretty much like a pin collector to a degree. I am becoming a pin collector, and I didn't even realize I was doing it. So what's going to happen is you're going to get your cardstock to go in there. See, now this is already dried glue. What I put down was dried glue. So now in the beginning, it's going to be a little tight getting that in and out, getting that cardstock in and out. But that's okay. I recommend you kind of practice with it a little bit so that when you send it to someone, they don't have to fight with it to get it in and out of your card. There we go. See, I cut it just right so that it would fit in there, but it's just good to be, it kind of loosens up the pocket a tiny bit, so that they won't have to fight with it to get it back inside, like I'm doing right now, as a bad example. But so this little piece of white cardstock is, I just bent it a little bit, is 4 inches by 4 3/4. Okay, so 4 inches by 4 3/4, because you want it narrow enough to slide in that pocket. And that pocket is really fighting me today. There we go. I think there we go. I just moved it a little bit so that I can get it nice and tight in there. If you make it wider, oh, talk about fighting it. And I only kept it to 1 layer, because when I tried putting 2 layers inside, like I had it with gray and white, oh, that was too thick, because then it's like really trying to get stuck in there. It's too much. So we got our basic cardstock. Now let's do some little bit of stamping. So let's get our basic stamps. So I've got Have a Spooktacular Halloween from an old set from Stamping Spooktacular Bash, and this is a current set called Spooky Halloween, and I wanted to use the bats. And then the final one that we're going to use is the sweater from Stay Warm, but we'll do that one last. So let's get our bats first. Let me just get a scrap piece of paper just in case, so I don't stamp on my, I didn't want to use my nice piece of cardstock I just had there. Good times. And we'll get our glue. And I'm just going to stamp the edge of my paper with bats. I just love this pocket card. I think it's fun. Bat. Bat. Oh, I meant to put the center one first and then do the others on the side. Whoa, there's like a cat hair on here, and like it's a little messy. But it left a little bit of streaking, but I'm not going to redo the whole piece because that's just silly. It's good. Good enough. No one's going to care. No one's even going to notice. And that's also what makes crafts personalized. So you'll see there's a cat hair clearly on my stamp because it left a little mark on there. But that's okay, because again, perfection is not the goal. Handcrafted love is the goal, you know? So, all right. So then I got this label, and this label is from, I want to say it's a Stylish Shapes. I'm pretty sure that's what this one's called. Stylish. Yeah, Stylish Shapes. And it has all these different squares and circles. And I cut out all these circles. This one's the second largest circle. And I want to stamp. Whoops. I put my blocks together and now it's like stuck. There we go. That little stamp really stuck down. Okay. So now with the rubber stamp, you have to be a little bit careful. Don't press down too hard, because it's okay. You don't need to like smash it down, because what happens when you smash the rubber and the stamps down too hard, it gets like blotchy. I pressed it actually even a little bit too hard that time. But again, you live and learn over time. Even with the bats, you know, because like there's a difference. So when I stamp the bat really and press really hard, you see how like it's, when I press this one's like really gentle. This one is like all blotchy and unformed, and the other one is all nice and clean. And so these ones, you know, you have to be really careful and gentle with. You don't want to smash too hard. But here's a perfect example. So the top one, I smashed it, and look at all the blotchiness. You can barely tell it's a bat. And on the bottom one, I probably had a little bit too much ink, but I didn't press down as hard, so you can definitely tell these are bats. So it's just, you know, over time you learn skills on how to stamp, and that's just something to remember. So then I put away the ink, and I still need to do my little sweater, which is the best part. And let's get our marker. Marker. Okay, and this sweater, this is gray granite paper, and I just stamped right down. Now I want to make sure, I'm not pressing too hard, but I want to make sure the solid part of the ribbing at the bottom and the ribbing at the top neck all got pressed, because that part tends to be the most like blotchy. You see this part has a little bit of blotchiness, like it could have used a tiny bit more ink. But again, that's what makes it handmade. And you know, it's like I put all my love and joy in there, you know, for whomever I'm sending this to. So my nieces love my handmade cards. All right, and then I'm just going to cut this out. And remember, when you're cutting, you always turn the paper, not the scissors. The paper turning is the key to making sure your cutting stays clean and not choppy. It's an actual skill. It's hard. I didn't realize, I was like, why can't I cut? Oh, see, that one got a little funny. It's like, why can't I cut? Because like when you go like this and you turn, you know how you get that funny, when you're moving the scissors, you see how you get that choppy like cut? It's not smoothly turned. It's because you're moving the scissors, not the paper. And so when you're going to still cut up and down, but you're going to move the paper first before you're going to move the scissors. And see, I just keep moving the paper first. And then I'm going to go ahead, because I need a sharp point at the top. I moved over to the side there. Oh, good. I managed not to leave a little layer. Okay. Fussy cut this out. My friend Cheryl used to hate fussy cutting. She probably still does. It was like her most hated part of crafting. I don't mind the fussy cutting too much, but I mean, it depends on how much cutting you're asking me to do. But see, also trimming, my little scissors right there trimmed up all the excess I had. And then I get a nice little edging. So perfect. Let me trim up this little neck here a little bit, because I got a little carried away when I was trying to show you guys how to cut. There we go. I think that's good. All right, perfect, perfect, perfect. Well, nothing's perfect, but I love to say like perfect when I'm done with something. Okay, good. We've got that. So now we need to punch out our little, oh, come on, move that over. Oh, there it is. This is just a 1-inch circle punch, just a basic little punch. We're going to cut out our Jack Skellington. Just a basic 1-inch circle. I just found whatever circle you wanted to fit on the center here. And 1 inch was a good size. And where's our sample card so I can look at his face again? Oh, that's not the sample. Hold on 1 second. Oh, sample. I put it somewhere special. So special that I can't find it. Oh, there it is. Okay. I just needed to have a face to reference. That was just what I did on the original. I just used just took an image, and drawing his face isn't that hard. His eyes are like somewhat teardrop shaped, you know, oval, teardropped. Looks good. And then he has just like these little tiny nostrils. And then you can do, I personally like using the brush tip, but some people might prefer to use the fine tip. I just like using the brush tip. And then you just do one, and then there's like a little X, and another, and another, and another. 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 we go. Just a simple, oh good, and I'm not even out of frame. Not simple, but there we go. Now I'm in frame. See, this little monitor is helping me already. And so I was telling you about Cara. She's a pin trader, and she mentioned how she, you know, there's just a few little pieces of equipment she uses. She just uses her phone, but having this little monitor, like tiny monitor to help me was really good. I might have been able to cast it to my laptop, but this is more helpful in my opinion than having my laptop, although I probably could have figured that out too. Anyway, one thing at a time. All right, so I've got my basics together, and I think we're ready to just start putting it together already. Yeah, that was easy. Sweet. Okay, let's get our dimensionals out. And, oh, I think I might need some more dimensionals. And I showed you the Stay Warm stamp set. I'm using this sweater, but you know, you can do a variety of different Disney characters with this. I just chose this one because it was Halloween, or it's almost Halloween. So, oh, and then the bats. I have the bats here. We'll do that last. So let's go ahead and put our little label inside. Not label, our little note card inside. There we go. And then we'll put our label. I want my label right about here. And so it's gonna overlap a little bit, but not totally cover the bats. So I'm using my white glue for that. Okay. And let's put that down. Let's put that down. Okay, good. And there we go. And then for my little Jack Skellington, oh, the bats. I forgot about the bats on the sweater. So on the sweater, I decided to color in these squares here. I just felt like it needed a little more black. And then for the hearts, instead of the hearts, I wanted to make them into bats. So I literally just elongated the V of the heart to make it into more of a bat. And you won't see the majority of these, just a few. Because let's see, I'm putting that, yeah. So especially these ones on the sleeve. There we go. And I wanted this part of my sleeve colored. I was gonna say, I thought I did more. I was, you know, before I put that little face on, I was like, I thought I did more to embellish the sweater. And again, these are minor embellishments. You could have kept the hearts if you wanted. I just felt the bats were a better fit, obviously. I can even punch out bats and put them all across my sweater if I wanted. I'm not coloring those center squares because I'm putting the face. I'm pretty sure I'm putting the face right there, so I don't even need to color those. So we'll just put our little face on. I hope I missed one little bat. Oh, there we go. No, I'm going to move it down a little lower. There we go. There we go. So it's like the center of my little sweater. And I could have done something else right here. I thought this was good enough. You know, don't gild the lily, Jennifer. Don't gild the lily. So we put that down, and then, yeah, we put this one on top. And I tried a few different options. I tried doing it this way, but I actually really liked the sweater this direction. One, it makes sure that the arms stay down. And two, because, you know, when you're putting your sweater in the, you know, in the mail, or your card in the mail, you just want to make sure the card doesn't, you know, come apart after you've sent it. You know, like, not come apart, it's the wrong wording, but I just like making sure my cards are not gonna fall apart too quickly, so to speak, you know. I mean, they're just paper, but I just like to make sure that people can enjoy them as long, you know, a little longer if they want. That's also why I use a lot of dimensionals, so many dimensionals. So like way too many probably, but that's okay, I don't mind. Even in my furlough, I'm going to use all my dimensionals, man. And so, and I'll hold up the sweater so you guys can see the bats a little better. I don't know if I did that yet, but let's go ahead and pop this down, because you don't want it to come off the card. But I left enough room to where I can still put my little bats, punched out bats. So you see how I just added the little V's there? I just literally made little tiny V's, extended those little heart-shaped patterns, which you might not have seen on the original. So the original had these little hearts on there, and the hearts are not really Halloweenish, you know. So I went ahead and made them bats, and I thought that was a better alternative. And again, you can do that for anything. So, all right. So now I felt like it needed, like I didn't like this white space here. So I went ahead and I found this bat punch that I had from this. It came in a set with a bunch of other little baby punches. I just love the baby punches. They're so cute. And I always do things in threes. I just feel like 3 is a good number. But see, I could have put bats on the sweater like that. You know, I could have put one down here. Oh, that actually looks pretty cool to put one down there. Maybe I will put one there. But I definitely wanted one here to kind of fill up that little white space. You don't want too much blank space in an area. It just looks, it looks unfinished in my opinion. So I'm gonna go ahead and put down this little bat, just a tiny bit of glue. And then I was thinking I'd put one there, and maybe putting one there is fun actually. Instead of putting the other one, I like the idea of putting it there. And then it just adds a little bit more dimension to the sweater, a little more design. Done. You know, if you have little tiny bat stickers, you could do that too, but how cute is that? So cute. And that is our card, ladies and gentlemen. That's it. That's the basics of the card. It wasn't too complicated. I think the hardest part was figuring out how big this piece of paper needed to be. But now I can write a cute little letter to my niece and send it to her by Halloween. I guess I need to mail it now because it's already the 14th. So I need to make sure I mail it out ASAP. But yeah, cute, right? Cute little card. So yeah, that's our fun little card. And nothing too exciting. I'm gonna fix these. Let me see, why is this brush? I think this brush might be dying. Use this one. There we go. I was gonna say this brush had like so little ink on this mouth. There we go. It looked almost like I had used a different pen on it. There we go. There we go. Yeah, this one I think might be bad. There you go. So there is our fun little card. So cute, right? Just our fun little Nightmare Before Christmas card. Jack Skellington card. So thanks for tuning in. And so with the bat, without the, I think with the bat, look at how cool that looks with the bat. I think definitely with the bat. I think it adds a little more dimension to this sweater. So yeah, so thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the likes, comments, whatever. I'm glad I could show you guys a new craft. I hope you have an excellent day, and I will see you guys soon.